Welcome to the Heart-Centered Entrepreneur Podcast. I want you to be rich. Yes, I want abundant financial success for your business. But I don't just care about your business making money. I care about you too. I want you to be rich in happiness, in the impact you make, in your relationships, and in how you give back. I'm Anna. I built my six-figure business as a side hustle while I was pregnant with my daughter in 2016. Now I've helped dozens of women do the same. I'm here to help you build a profitable, heart-centered, fully booked business with the latest tips on sales and visibility, with proven mindset hacks, and sneak peeks behind the scenes with what's working right now in the online space and in my business. Ready to make more money with heart? Let's go. You really have got to work with a sensitive, heart-centered female business coach. All the time I hear my clients coming in getting this advice, and I end up giving them business advice that's literally the opposite of some of what they've been hearing, because they are not getting advice from people that are heart-centered, sensitive. When I say women, I mean female identifying people. This is definitely an LGBTQ plus friendly space. And I really think it's so important that we get advice that works for us with heart. I'm going to give you some examples today of advice I've given my clients that's literally been the opposite of what they thought they needed to do and or what they heard online, and how it made them a ton of money. I'm also going to share with you some examples in my life where I made business decisions that maybe seem counterintuitive, but really skyrocketed my income. And I did a similar podcast episode 257, the real reason I chose a tiny studio after my divorce. I'll put that in the show notes too, that's related to this, but I want to talk about, for heart-centered women, how much it is important to create our safety, our security, and I mean financially, I mean physically, I mean emotionally, to create that bubble. And how traditional business advice that might encourage you to just be brave and rough it, and jump and the parachute will appear, and just DM 100 people. Even if you do some of that stuff, it's not always going to work or work sustainably. Maybe it'll work for a second, but then you feel icky and you back up, right? Or you end up signing clients, but then they're not the right clients. These strategies do not work in the long run. And I know you don't like them, but sometimes you feel pressure to do them. So what I want you to first just affirm today is put your hand on your heart and say to yourself, it's safe for me to do business in a heart-centered way, in a way that feels aligned with me, in a way that doesn't feel icky or sticky or weird. I don't have to be icky or sticky or weird to make money online. I don't have to stretch myself thin to make money online. I don't have to question myself or my intuition if something isn't feeling right. It's safe for me to use heart-centered strategies and sales tactics that feel ethical, that feel aligned and in integrity, and I can make a ton of money this way. Okay, let's dive into some examples. I thought about this because I met with a client this week, and she decided that, she's getting active on LinkedIn again, but was just feeling like there was some old connections from her LinkedIn that weren't really feeling safe to her. And she was like, oh, is it, if I remove them, am I missing out on business opportunities and decreasing my network? Right? So maybe traditional business advice would say, leave every single follower on. You don't want to miss out on that. But if having those followers on makes you feel unsafe or unsettled for whatever reason, removing them and having a smaller bubble is actually going to be better, because then you're going to feel comfy to post more and reach out to the people that are on there. I so resonate with this, because in the beginning of my business, the big reason why I started my Facebook group is because it could be private. And at the time, I was a therapist. And at the time, their therapists really did not have social media accounts like they do nowadays. I know I'm saying nowadays, but it's 10 years ago, right? And also I was teaching part-time at the university. And also I had a lot of fear of judgment around what people would think about me after getting my master's in counseling, and just all the things. And sure, I could have obliterated my mindset blocks, but what I want to say to you is sometimes it's okay to leave the mindset blocks be and just do a strategy that makes you feel safe, right? As I had 100 people in my Facebook group, sure, it was way smaller than if I would have been more public with it, but I was able to quickly grow my income on those 100 people because I felt safe and secure. I felt aligned, right? And I think so often we feel the pressure to, and I'm not saying you sometimes we need to be uncomfortable, right? I had to go on video and I hated going on video. That was uncomfortable for me, but I did it anyway. So you know the balance between stepping outside of your comfort zone and stepping outside of the box that feels aligned for you, right? Other versions of this that my clients have done, one of my clients was sharing her story on Instagram, and it was a very personal story around some of her transformation regarding her niche. And so she shared that in an Instagram channel. Right? She encouraged people to join the channel and shared her story in the channel because that felt safe to her, right? Another form of this is I encourage my clients to mute people on Instagram that they don't want, like it's your turf, right? And so this is where I think, one of the stories is like, oh, you're decreasing the amount of people, or, oh, just go over your mindset block. People are going to judge you. Just get over it. But I think as heart-centered entrepreneurs, it's okay to not. We don't always, like, I think there's just message in the personal development space of like improve, improve, improve. And sometimes it's okay to just like work with what we've got, right? I love how Suzie Orman gives this example. Suzie Orman is someone that's been in the financial advice space for women for a very long time. I think she might be in her 80s now. She's amazing. But I remember her giving advice to women, even though most advice says, do not buy a brand new car. It's a bad deal financially, right? The advice she gave to a woman was, hey, if you're getting a little older or for whatever reason, you need a new car because that's what feels safest to you. You want to make sure you have a car that doesn't break down. You want to get a loan because of this reason or that reason. Buy the new car. Buy the new car. And I just think, again, like, it's not just about what's the most financially savvy to do, but what's going to make you feel the safest. Because I believe when you feel safe and secure, that's when you're going to make the most money, period. Right? I see this for myself. For me, buying my house, I actually think it ended up being a great financial decision because it's gone up in value so much. But even outside of it being a good decision, for me, buying a house and having the physical security of owning a house, oh my goodness, did wonders for my nervous system. And I've made a ton more money because I have this safe and peaceful house that I know no one's going to up my rent. No one's going to kick me out, right? Like for me, that move made me a lot of money, not because it was traditionally necessarily like good business advice, money advice, but because it helped make me feel safe and secure. Right? I told a story in the other podcast episode that when I first moved to this house, I researched putting bars on my window because I was so nervous about living on my own. It actually ended up being fine and I didn't even do that, but I let myself go there. And if that would have made me feel safer, I would have done it, right? I think sometimes we're like, oh, I remember when I first lived in my little tiny studio apartment that was in the back of someone's $1 million home and it had like literally iron gates to get in. I still put an extra lock on the door. Did I actually need it? No. Did I know I was overreacting? Yes. Did I do it anyway because it helped me sleep better at night? Yes. And again, I think sometimes we feel like we have to like improve ourselves till we're perfect instead of like, it's not going to hurt anyone. I'm just going to put an extra lock on my door because that makes me feel secure. Another advice that I give into a client is, technically our money should be in high yield savings accounts in the stock market to make the most money, right? However, I encourage my client who is feeling really feast and famine to have a little bit bigger of a cash buffer in her business. She has a very big team. She has a lot of team members, and it was causing her a lot of anxiety and giving her a lot of risk aversion to have so much of her money in the stock market and not very much in liquid cash savings. So I encouraged her to put more in liquid cash savings, even though quote, the financial advice is to put your money in the stock market, put it in the high yield savings account. I love high yield savings accounts, by the way. But what happened when she put more in liquid cash, she was able to rapidly make a ton more money in her business that next year because she felt safe and secure. So remember, the point of money, the point of this, the point of action is to really help us feel more safe and secure. Because when you're feeling safe, when you're feeling secure, when you're feeling aligned, that's what's going to make you more money, right? Especially if you consider yourself to be empathic, more sensitive. For me, I not only consider myself to be like very full of integrity and values, but I'm almost like a little overboard on it for several reasons. Like I err on the side of being compassionate, ethical, giving people the benefit of the doubt. Like people like me that are just very heart-centered, I just think we need a little extra cushion. We need to not just do business strategies that work, but we need them to feel really good, right? If you've had trauma in your past, right? If you've had experiences that have been really grounding for you, maybe for the average person, it's like, oh, no big deal, just post on social media. But maybe for you, it's like, no, it really feels very intense to do that, to get a negative criticism, to have my voice be heard and feel vulnerable about it, right? To have people judge me based on your past, it might feel like there's a lot on the line. So what I just want you to ask yourself today is like, what can I just do to make myself feel safe? And even if that's not the quote best financial move, what if it actually is? Because the safer I feel, the more money I make. The safer I feel, the more aligned I feel, the more authentic I feel, the more secure that I feel, the more money I make so easily and quickly, even if it's not traditionally the best or the right thing, even if it's not the most savvy thing. How can I create the security for myself, the safety for myself, and then just trust myself from there? On a related topic, I was really talking to a woman who is in the middle of her very first release of her coaching program. And she was just explaining to me how those 2 weeks of getting clear on her offer and putting it out there, how intense that felt. And honestly, I forget a little bit because it's been 10 years since I started, but I remember that. And, she really felt like everything was writing on these 2 weeks. And as she was launching her offer, this felt like make it or break it. If people responded well to her new niche and her offer in these 2 weeks, then she felt like her business would take off. If she felt like it didn't work in these 2 weeks, it felt like that would be her sign that it was time to fold up her suitcase and never do business again, right? It felt so much like it was on the line, like I'm going to risk it once, I'm going to risk it all, and that's it. And I can resonate with this, right? I'm in the middle of dating and trying to find my partner, and it can feel like this to me. Like anytime we're in the middle of something that we want really bad, that we're putting our heart on the line about, it can feel very intense, which interestingly enough actually works against us, right? When we're like, I'm going to put this out there and people better buy it. And if they don't, then I'm doomed. Then usually that's a very attached energy that doesn't get results. Ironically, when we put it out there and we're like, I'm going to put this out there, I hope it works. If it doesn't, I'm going to assess things. I'm not going to make it mean anything personal about me. I'm going to get myself back out there and I'm going to try this again. I've had clients who have done a 2-week launch. It hasn't worked. We've assessed the data. We've changed things and they've signed clients literally 2 weeks later. Right? Because they didn't take it personal. They're not like, okay, well, I know I'm going to figure this out. I know 10K months are mine. I might have to change my audience. I might have to change my niche. But what I know is that this thing is mine, right? And I think part of any new thing is going to feel intense, right? Anytime we're going to school for the first time, anytime we're launching something, anytime we're dating for the first time, right? It's going to feel intense. And I think that goes with this conversation of why I think it's so important to create that safety bubble. Because when we back up, we can tell ourselves, we can see clearly okay, it feels intense in my brain, but actually no one is even noticing that I'm launching this thing except for me. If I launch this thing over these 2 weeks and it fails, no one even really notices or cares, and I can just do it again and try again, right? But in our head, these things can feel so intense and so big and so make it or break it, especially if we've been in corporate or we haven't taken a lot of risks in life or we've been pretty successful at almost everything we've done, right? Putting ourselves out there for something we care about, being visible, showing our face, showing our heart. It's very risky, right? It feels very emotionally intense. And this is where I think the safety thing, I've always really done this. I've always really babied myself, right? Think about if a child came to you and they were on their first day of school and they were very nervous, you'd be like, okay, wear your lucky jacket, bring the stuffy and put it in your backpack. You'd give them the comfort. You wouldn't be on their first day of school hey, just get over yourself and get out there. In that new situation, you'd wrap them with comfort and security. And I feel like we forget how intense business is. And I think we make it be oh, it's just because there's something wrong with me. instead of like, no, this is just the nature of doing hard and brave things. And so how do I err on the side of wrapping myself with safety or security? Like I've done a lot of brave things over the last 10 years. Oh my goodness. But I've also wrapped myself with a lot of support. My coach, my therapist, right? Like my house, my workout classes. Like I just think that we have to remember that we're not wrong for things feeling intense, right? Maybe you even say out loud right now the intense thing that you're going through. Maybe it's objectively intense, like something big with your health or business, but maybe it's just subjectively intense and it feels like a big deal. And I want you to ask yourself, how do I make this easier for myself? How do I make this safer for myself? So often my clients come to me and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm, lazy. I haven't done this or that." And I really look at their list and they have like 17 things they're trying to do. And most often I simplify their list and give them less to do. I think we think that we need more tough love, more aggression, more shame, more guilt. But I don't think that's the way. And certainly it's not the long-term sustainable way to get anywhere, right? I think it is with safety, with security, with simplification. And it's really ironic because I think for our friends and family and clients, we're naturally this way. Naturally, we give our community so much grace, but we forget to extend that same grace to ourselves. So ask yourself today, how can I extend to myself in my business strategy and the advice I give to myself more safety, more security, more little tiny benchmarks, right? One of my clients was feeling nervous about posting on social media. So she just in her private Slack channel posted some of her videos to get courage, right? Like, how do we make it smaller? How do we make it more cushiony so that we can do the intense things, so that we can do the hard things, but do it one step at a time? Thanks for hanging out today. Please hit that subscribe button so you can make sure to stay updated anytime a new episode drops. And I would love for you to join me in my free Facebook community. It's called The Heart-Centered Entrepreneur. We discuss the podcast episodes. I regularly go live and do free trainings. And you may even meet your newest biz bestie. So you can join at heartcenteredcommunity.com. It's absolutely free, and I cannot wait to see you in there.